them for the miles and miles that they've been driving, and they want to now cover it. So what you just saw there is somebody using the camera to take a picture of the.
They think we're this stupid.
And so that's what your viewers are looking at.
So
right
the
now.
suspect's name is Cesar Sayoc. He's 56 years old. He lives in Florida. The arrest was made in Plantation, Florida. I think his address.
Welcome to the Elbert Road. I'm Jordan.
But it's all basically in the same area. It's in an area that is an area that is represented by Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Ties to New York.
All of the packages had return addresses to her offices, which makes sense. Everything's sort of interconnected. Things are really not that far apart. Right. It's a 15, 20-minute drive from the postal service that sorted most of this stuff, from her offices, from where the arrest was made, and then Fort Lauderdale is sort of the biggest city in and around
like all the images that are on the side
in
of
that area.
And we're waiting for the president. He was supposed to take to the stage at 11:45 a.m. Eastern. You're looking at a live shot there. He is going to be meeting with young conservative African-American Republicans. It's a leadership conference there that he's going to be speaking at, but just about a half hour ago, he tweeted that he would be addressing the arrest that has been made in connection to these this campaign of terror, this bombing campaign, this attempted bombing campaign that this individual has now been taken into custody for. And so the president is delayed, and so we're keeping an eye on that. But you can see the room there. Has become fairly crowded, and you know people. So we received this picture of the mugshot here of Mr. Sayoc that perhaps other news outlets had. We are now able to confirm that this is indeed a photograph of Cesar Sayoc. I'm not sure though, and maybe the producers.
I wonder
whether this is his current mugshot or this isn't.
He looks Latino.
We don't know. Okay, so we do not know when this picture was taken. This is an undated photograph of the 56-year-old suspect, Cesar Sayoc, who was taken into custody a short time ago.
For all I know, it could be his driver's license picture.
Good chance it is.
But we do know that he has a criminal record, and it's because of that criminal record that police were able to zone in on him so quickly. They were able to find DNA evidence on these packages. We talked about the fact that the more packages out there,
the more
CNN
guy with a red circle across his face and a cross,
and they got
a cartoon.
And that's how they were able to zone in on him so quickly.
The one thing, Jared, if you're still with us, that I will be curious is just because they have a suspect in custody, given the fact that we came into work this morning thinking that the packages were, had stopped, and then we saw that 2 were delivered today, could there still potentially be other packages out there?
I think there are 2 allergies that we're talking about now. One is packages that could already be in the mail system, and the second is copycat cracks.
Right.
There are people.
Then you got you got the outside cover windows of the van with like pro-Trump this
and so we need to be very
what happened
on
was
guard for similar packages with the same MO.
Someone found
packages that are inspired by this. The trend in terrorism, domestic and foreign, over the last.
Or someone on Twitter posted an image of the van. They said they saw it. They reported it. And all of a sudden, this tarp flies off the van. And then you can see that it's the actual thing. It's the same thing.
Potential for a copycat or an inspiration attack is something that's a very real threat at this stage.
It's just remarkable how things have unfolded since Monday. The fact that they found him in really just sort of 5 days.
Yeah, they just found him.
This is what I wanted to ask you before, actually, as they were sort of taking the van away. I wondered, could somebody have manufactured or put together all of these pipe bombs in the back of that van, or would you need sort of a larger area to work in?
I mean, I think anything is possible, depending upon how much time you had to work. It's certainly possible to put together a pipe bomb in the back of the van, but it probably would be easier in a larger space like a garage.
This is what I have so far. This guy is based in Florida. They're also saying it was sent from there, which doesn't make sense because there's no, usually there's markings on mail to say that it processed through the U.S. Postal Service. Yeah. And that was not there on the New York one, at least.
Yeah.
Which means it would be hand-delivered. Which means how the fuck is he in Florida and New York at the same time? Which would mean he would have to have accomplices.
Wonder what the next 5 days is going to bring us.
Also, how the fuck do you walk into CNN and just give a package out? Was he dressed as a mailman or something?
They'll figure something out.
We believe that this is Cesar Sayoc. He's at a Trump rally.
Oh shit.
Let's take a listen there. It's undated, so we don't know when this happened, but you can hear Trump speaking in the background there, and it certainly looks like Cesar Sayoc, the guy in that mugshot.
Wow.
In that photo. So we're getting more and more, you know, we had talked about the idea that he would have a social media presence.
Look,
as you've been talking, Vlad, I've been trying
to
scour Facebook and Twitter to see if I can find if he has a page.
But
sort of bit by bit, we're getting photos of him. We're getting a little bit of video of him, and there's probably, you know, some social media stuff out there.
When this audio's
Jared,
playing,
you know that a lot of time, well, you can tell.
Okay.
I expect that, you know, a guy like this is probably sharing
no bombs went off
at some point.
Trending now.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly the trend that we've seen both in foreign and domestic inspired attacks of late.
I don't think any of the bombs are going to go off, man. Not one. Not one. Okay? Not one went off.
Trending. Let me know if you can hear us when we talk over the news footage.
People can take it and use it for whatever they're trying to do. It's certainly democratized America in a way that we haven't seen in a very long time. But it also has an outlet for people to become inspired.
My conspiracy meter is going off.
Extreme ideologies.
It's like,
take those ideologies to a very
is this guy a plant? Meaning, is he working with someone?
Jared, talk to us about what kinds of questions
with intelligence agencies, or is it like one of those things where it's like, oh, you just have the innocent man who doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Up to the
Apparently,
Trump
dropped a tweet.
They're going to try and establish a rapport with that individual, get him comfortable, obviously make sure he's given his Miranda warnings, offered an attorney, and then go through and give them, you know.
All right, cool. Thanks, Trending.
Try and go through and figure out, are they comfortable and do they want to confess?
If only I could have, like, we get that thing that Jody has that shows up on the side of the screen.
From there, if
that's Streamlabs.
Yeah. You gotta get the Junior Dos Santos like this.
Methodical way to try and do that.
You're looking at a live picture there on the left side of your screen of the White House, where we expect in just a few minutes President Trump will take to the podium there to address a group of young African-American conservative Republicans. It's a leadership council event that he is going to be addressing them, but he has also tweeted that he will also address the breaking news out of Florida, Plantation, Florida to be exact, that a man has been taken into custody. His name is Cesar Sayoc. He has been taken into custody in connection with that wave of packages of those improvised explosive devices that were sent to various Democratic officials, high-ranking public officials over the course of the last 5 days. So we expect that the president will talk about that. He's tweeted about this already.
Because so far what the news is doing is sketchy as fuck. It doesn't make any sense.
We'll be obviously bringing that to you live.
Also,
yeah, it's been really
we have to see if they connected to Russia somehow.
I really have to sort of give it to law
enforcement. So they tried to do it at CBS.
For how rapidly they were able to hone in on this individual. Now he's just a suspect, and we actually don't know what the connection is, right? But all signs are pointing to, you know, a significant connection to these crimes.
So one thing we should clarify: I'm being told that his name is not Cesar; it is Cesar.
Cesar
Sayoc.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So where do we go from here, right? I presume that we also want to make sure, Jared, that there aren't any other people involved or any other people that assisted. And I'm wondering, you know, if he has
there has to be, or their story does not make sense at all. It makes zero sense unless there's a second fucking person
these
here.
Pipe bombs, allegedly. Could somebody
else
you
can't just mail it from Florida
with
no stamps, no markings from the U.S. Postal Service, and it get all the way to New York
to make sure that
and D.C. and all these other places. So they had to be
to make sure that there was no balance.
Well, granted, we only seen one photograph of one of the letters, and that was the CNN New York one addressed to John Brennan.
Probably the quiet that you'll hear in this investigation.
And that one had no U.S. postal markings on it at all. So
people will get lawyers.
That one had to be hand delivered.
Go through that process with the federal,
as far as I know, and what I heard.
Right. What kind of charges is this guy facing?
Any number of charges. There's a federal terrorism statute. There are a number of state statutes involved. There are threats. There are specific threats related to threatening elected officials.
Hey, Jared, we're going to cut right into you now because it looks like the President of the United States is about to take the podium here. So we're going to dip in and listen to what he's saying.
That's why we are where we are. Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah, trending, there's like, right here, man. Oh, yeah, trending, I only see two things. Either conspiracy, as in this is some sort of hoax type shit, or he had people working with him.
What a great honor to have you. Thank you. It is a great, great honor to have you in the White House. Thank you very much. They call this, as you know, this is Young Black Leadership, and it's the summit. And to have you here is truly my privilege. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk. We're going to meet. But before I do, I'd like to begin, and you are leaders. You're real leaders. I'd like to begin today's remarks by providing an update on the packages and devices that have been mailed to high-profile figures throughout our country and a media organization. I am pleased to inform you that law enforcement has apprehended the suspect and taken him into custody. It's an incredible job by law enforcement. We've carried out a far-reaching federal, state, and local investigation to find the person or persons responsible for these events. These terrorizing acts are despicable and have no place in our country. No place. I've instructed authorities to spare no resource or expense in finding those responsible and bringing them to swift and certain justice. And we will prosecute them, him, her, whoever it may be, to the fullest extent of the law. We must never allow political violence to take root in America. Cannot let it happen. And I'm committed to doing everything in my power as president to stop it. And to stop it now. To stop it now. I have just concluded a briefing with the Department of Justice following the apprehension of the suspect. I want to applaud the FBI, Secret Service, the Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, the NYPD, and all law enforcement throughout the entire country, incredible partners. These people have worked so hard, and to have done it so quickly. It's looking like it's a needle in a haystack. How do you do this so quickly? They've done an incredible, incredible job, and I want to congratulate them. But the bottom line is that Americans must unify. And we must show the world that we are united together in peace and love and harmony as fellow American citizens. There is no country like our country. And every day we are showing the world just how truly great we are. So you are really very special people. I wanted to say that before our little talk. And I appreciate the time you've given me. And boy, one day, one of you is going to be standing. It could be 3 or 4 of you, actually. But you're going to be standing right here. You're going to be standing right here. I have no doubt. I have no doubt. Who in this room wants to be president someday?
Don't. Like,
so it's an ambitious group.
You should make mental markers.
It's an ambitious group. That's great. Anyway, thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. For the media, thank you very much. I thought I'd do that, and we feel very strongly. Again, congratulations to all law enforcement. We have the best in the world, and they just showed it. Thank you.
Said a whole lot of nothing. Nothing there. There's a big nothing there, dude.
That's typical political rhetoric.
And it is my great honor to be with so many brilliant, and that's what you are, brilliant, courageous, patriotic, and proud Americans. Seeing all of you here today fills me with an extraordinary confidence in America's future and the great, great future of our country. Each of you is taking part in the Young Black Leadership Summit because you are true leaders on your campuses, in your churches, and in your communities. You are leaders of the future. You're leaders of the present also. Remember that. You're leaders of
he's already done.
But it's really something to
talking about the bombing.
Your age, and where are you standing? In the White House. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. And each of you is playing a historic role in making America great again.
Okay, so they were hearing from the president, and he applauded law enforcement for rapidly making an arrest just for the 5 days in connection with the series of explosives that have been sent to high-ranking and high-profile Democrats who have also been very critical of the president.
This should be going off everybody's radar. It really should.
The 56-year-old Cesar Sayoc. We know that part of the reason that law enforcement was able to hone in on him so quickly is because when they got DNA from any one of these packages, they were able to get a hit in their system, right? So there was a DNA connection, which means that he had a criminal record. And what we're learning right now we've got Pat Milton. Okay, great, Pat, that's fantastic. Pat Milton is our senior producer in our investigative unit. You've really been on it, giving us more information and details about this suspect. So what's the latest? What do you know?
Well, we are learning that the suspect has ties to New York, was born in New York. He's registered as a Republican in 2016, and he does have a criminal history.
Do we know any other details about his criminal history and where it stems from, whether in New York or Florida?
Yes, it was a state charge in 2002 that he was charged in the state of Florida with threatening to throw, place, or project a destructive device. And then he was convicted and sentenced in November 2002. He also has some history of theft.
Destructive device. So it makes you think of, well, perhaps an explosive. Do we know any details on what that destructive device might have been?
No, we're trying to get more details on what that incident entailed.
All right, Pat Milton.
But it wasn't a federal charge, it was a state charge.
It was a local charge in Florida. Thank you, Pat Milton, as always. Thank you for the work that you're doing in trying to understand and figure out who this individual is. We appreciate it. We'll check back in with you just a bit later. Do we still have Jared with us? I guess we don't. Yeah. All right, so the news. Again, we are at the 12:30 mark. The picture you're looking at of the individual who was taken into custody, his name is Cesar Sayoc. He is the man that police and law enforcement officials believe is responsible for that wave of suspicious packages that have been sent to various officials, including 2 former presidents, a former Secretary of State, former Attorney General, members of Congress, and
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, right.
If they say it's him alone,
the question that we were asking Jared before
people
the
won't
President of the United States began to speak is
if they say
there is a
at this
potential
press
for
conference, if they
more
say
of these
it
packages
was
to
him
be
and
within
him
the mail
alone,
system.
Right.
So just because you've arrested
people are
somebody
going to be like,
doesn't mean that this will stop. So obviously people are going to still remain vigilant.
People are already saying that.
Applauding law enforcement efforts, not just in Florida, but obviously here in New York City and in the state of New York, because some of these packages were delivered to Westchester County, and applauding the efforts, because if you think about it, and the president was right in saying this, if you think about it, it only really took 5 days for law enforcement to track this individual down. You know, we talked throughout the course of our coverage over this week about other mail bombing campaigns that have taken sometimes years to figure out who is doing them and where they are and actually bring them into custody.
So we have a reporter from our local affiliate in Miami, WFOR, who's joining us on the phone. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's great. So listen, we've been sort of watching your Twitter feed, and I know you've got the very latest. What do you know about the suspect? Where is he now?
Sure. Right now, the suspect is at FBI headquarters, where he's being questioned by FBI agents and investigators in this case. We believe the van is also headed in that direction. And right now, what we can tell you for sure is, obviously, as you know, the arrest was made around 10:30. Broward Sheriff's Office was involved, ATF, or FBI, also NYPD. There was a flashbang device used, which concerned some folks in the neighborhood. They thought it was an explosion of a different type, but it was a flashbang that was used to stun the subject and take him into custody without any real further incident.
Well, that's pretty good. Jim, Jim DeFeeti, can you give us an idea of what that area is like? We had one of our reporters down there. He said it was basically, you know, when he got down there, it was sort of almost a no man's land. But what's it typically like?
Yeah, I mean, it's an area where you would expect to go find an auto parts store. I mean, it's a commercial district more than a residential one. I think that what my sources told me was that once they identified who it was through forensics by analyzing the packages out of Quantico, that they were then able to figure out and start a search for this individual. When they found him, they simply followed him until they could find a location that they thought they could do the takedown in a fairly safe manner. And again, so the isolated area, that parking lot, provided the law enforcement a good opportunity to move in and end this.
Jim, obviously, as you well know, once we know the name of the suspect, and now we do, Cesar Sayoc, once we know the details of his background, reporters and law enforcement obviously are going to be converging upon his residence, talking to family members, talking to people he may have worked with or come into contact with. What do we know about that? Do we know where he lived, where he worked, we do know from our Pat Milton his political affiliation, at least as of 2016, but what else can you tell us?
Well, we know that there are multiple addresses for him, some in the Aventura area, which is in Miami-Dade County.
This is one for me,
there are other addresses.
We're
all trying to hunt them down right now. I am told that as of this moment, they have not identified an actual location, like a home for him. Unless they've done something different, I don't think they've found his actual house. One thing that I can tell you that's been really interesting to us in learning about this individual is that we've been getting phone calls. I've been getting, even messages, text messages from individuals. This van that he was driving with all of these markings all over it about Donald Trump. There's a picture of Hillary Clinton in crosshairs. There's dishonest media. CNN sucks. There's pictures of Michael Moore with crosshairs. There's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of imagery very positive towards Donald Trump. Things on the van talk about chain migration.
What up,
Scott? The van became very
William?
Popular in South Florida. It was memorable to people in South Florida. So that now
Welcome,
that they're
MAGA
seeing it on TV, we're
Trump
getting reports
supporter.
of it. People regularly see
Are
it
you saying
at
that
a
we are?
shopping mall.
Oh, that look at this!
Area. Somebody
Look
else
at this!
sending me
About to
pictures
pause
of
this right
the
Do it.
van.
Oh my God! Look at this shit! Come on!
I told you, man.
Who does that?
Who drives around like that without without raising a shitload of suspicion, and also a million fucking photos, right?
Look at this. You got
There'd be a shitload of people like, look at this fucking guy. Trump is such a piece of shit. I think he's just some guy, honestly. I think he's overhyped by people, and it ends up giving him credibility. If you really want to not have him around, you just, he's just an act. He's just a person. He's just like flamboyant and whatever.
Scott Williams says Trump is a piece of shiza.
That's what I.
Oh, well, I would agree, but he's still a person.
I would say he acts like a piece of shit.
He acts like a yeah. Come on, this is so cartoonish. It's like, really. Like, you expect me to believe this? Like, I'm just gonna go out and I'll believe you. Look at this. Look, bottom left hand corner. Dishonest media. CNN.
Yeah, there's Michael Moore as Jill Stein.
You got Trump on that American flag on the fucking tank.
Hillary Clinton.
You got Pence, top left hand corner.
You have like memes.
You got memes.
Who the fuck is that? Is that like a kid right there next to Michael Moore? To the right of Michael Moore, right below Hillary Clinton.
I don't know, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's like Trayvon Martin or something.
I don't know. This shit, top youth soccer recruits for Trump.
Yeah.
All right, come on. This is like cartoonish.
You see aliens right there? You see the Independence Day aliens on the second window?
Yes, indeed, Scott Williams. Yes.
Look at the second
aliens, yeah. What's going on here?
All right, let's continue this.
That when it was at a VFW in Fort Lauderdale, because people just thought it was
right, that's the Independence Day fucking thing, isn't it?
Yeah. With it. So I think
like
that more people
lookalike.
are identifying the van and recognizing him through that than they are actually through his picture being released right now.
Yeah, and Jim, we did have a little clip of a video that we can probably throw up on the screen there for our viewers that showed allegedly Mr. Sayoc at a rally, an undated rally with President Trump. There you can see him in the foreground of your screen there.
There's Mr. Sayoc.
Got the
next to Russians.
There we go. Great reporter in there. 2016 in Cincinnati, Ohio. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting to us, Jim.
It would be okay if it didn't look so
that
CW
video of the van being covered up by FBI agents went out on the airwaves. We started to see on social media people sending their pictures of the van, just as you say. People had noticed it many, many times.
Yeah, it's a fascinating sort of detail.
This is also going to help Trump supporters in the sense of like, see, look, he's Latino and Native American.
That as a curiosity, which sort of bespeaks the state of our politics today, because some of the messaging on there is clearly, you know, somewhat disturbing, but yet it was an oddity and just something that people wanted to take pictures of or take pictures even with.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, Vlad. You were talking about, you know, up here in New York. If you see something, say something, it's plastered everywhere, and it's sort of just drilled into you. But there are still questions, you know.
Apparently this dude was a bodybuilder.
You see that makes you want to say something. You know, what's the line?
You know, when you listen to Jim's reporting, I think what it says, is that, you know, there are a lot of people who have strong views about things, but when you see stuff like that, you think it's just a goof. You don't think it's anything serious.
Right, but I think also, you know what Jim said was a really sort of good point, that, you know, the way we talk about politics now, the intensity of our language, things have ratcheted up so much that this is not entirely out of the ordinary, what we see on this man's van. You know, this is what the dialogue
it almost seems set up, doesn't it?
To a certain degree.
No, you're absolutely right.
It's like, this hasn't happened before, right?
There's nothing
it's just,
in and of itself.
Okay, I can believe that there's a guy
was going to commit an act of violence,
wanting to do violence against these political figures because they're whatever anti-Trump or whatever, and he's a huge Trump supporter. I can see that.
I think it's going to be an interesting part of the
discussion. I may be able to see the van,
like I think sort of down the line.
That van driving around with all the images and shit.
The van has this imagery on it. Still does not
without cops pulling over, like, what's up with your windows, man? Yeah, you gotta be able to see through us.
What the motivation of this individual was, why they
like, what are you hiding in there, man?
What's going on? Whether they saw this as being
what I can't see is him by himself
whatever that may be,
sending these letters out with no postal markings.
Yeah, definitely. So just
making it all the way to New York with names spelled wrong, with the state spelled wrong.
Did anybody say that they had actually spoken to him?
And by the way, I was listening to Ryan Dawson did that one video, and this has been done before. They purposely misspell words and shit.
And so
that's an obvious.
that's one of the things.
And the other thing is this: like, how the fuck did you just walk into CNN?
Was trying to convince some of them, you know, to sort of talk about
and then them opening the package,
was it sitting at the bar at the VFW?
So the only way this all makes sense is if he has help, if he has teammates.
And I think there's a little bit of
right, that's what they're saying, ties to New York.
That, like, geez, I guess I didn't report anything suspicious with this van. You know, do I really want to come out and publicly talk about that? But again, I think that we want to try to draw as complete a picture as possible and hear from those who interacted with him, those, you know, to hear what his views actually were.
Yeah, indeed. Jim DeFede, you're at our station, WFOR in Miami. Thank you so much for your reporting. Thank you for calling in. We know you're really busy right now. We appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, Jeff Pegues is standing by. He's joining us from Washington, D.C. Jeff, we know we just heard from the President of the United States. We expect a briefing from the Department of Justice at 2:45 or so p.m., 2:45 p.m. Eastern. What more can you tell us about what we're learning?
Well, I thought it was interesting that the president called this political violence. There have been many experts who've seen this case unfolding who've called it domestic terrorism, so we'll see what Justice Department officials have to say about that. The FBI does have a specific definition of what domestic terrorism is, and that's,
I watched this documentary last night called American Chaos. Trump supporters are batshit crazy.
So I thought that was interesting. But also what we're
I would
seeing
say
on the man's
a lot
van,
on either side. In any
is
ideology,
notable,
there's always people that go too far. Right? Even in like something as simple as like gangs, you have like a group of guys sitting around.
Yo, we're the toughest block in the We're the toughest.
And there's always that one guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot this guy right now. Look at me.
Also pictures of Vice President Pence, Donald Trump.
I'm truly a teammate.
We are also hearing that the suspect may have attended some
you'll see overzealous people in every ideology.
Rallies. And so there is still a lot
I watched
more
the
to come
documentary.
here, especially as we try and investigators try to determine the motive behind
not this dude, the other guy from the other day.
These 12 suspicious devices sent mostly to people who have been critical of President Trump or people that President Trump is criticizing.
It was funny because they're all
so when you see this van, and that's why the FBI went
check out my
to
raps.
great lengths
like every guy they had on camera ended up doing something. Every guy they had on camera ended up doing some form of freestyle
as part of their
in front of a
evidence
camera.
collection. You know, this van is an important part of this investigation.
All right, Jeff Begays, you're in Washington for us. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be talking to you, especially after we do hear from the Department of Justice about what they know and what they
I wonder if they put on their serious face.
Our Chip Reed is standing by to talk to us as well. Yeah. Chip is at the White House. Chip,
like
the president just made some comments about this. They were very brief, but he made it at the young leadership of African Americans, conservative African American in the White House. It's interesting. His tone was a little bit different than what we'd been
last
seeing
night. That one lady's like,
earlier
this
today.
has to be connected to Russia somehow.
Very much so.
Like, are you fucking kidding me again? Again?
One
this
on
bullshit?
TV and the other on
she was
Twitter,
like, can't
and
you?
on TV just now in the East Room
Can't we
of the White
essentially
House at the
put
Young
some
Black
blame on
Leadership
Russia for
Summit.
this?
He talked
He's like,
about
yes, you
what a
can.
great job law enforcement did finding a needle in a haystack. Yeah, he congratulated
finding
them
a needle
over and
in a
over again,
haystack.
which certainly those congratulations are.
When did this happen before?
But on Twitter, he's
This
talking
wasn't
more about the
like
politics
people
of this.
on,
One tweet
on
about
social
2 hours
media
before
figured
he
out
came
how to catch the guy
to
immediately.
speak at the summit here. He said
Thank you,
Republicans
Scott.
are doing so well in early
Bless
voting
you.
and at the polls,
Bless
and
you,
now
man.
this bomb stuff happens,
56.
and the momentum greatly slows. News not
Everybody
talking
can.
politics. Very
Young at
unfortunate.
heart.
What is going on? Republicans go out and vote. So before the arrest was made, or at least before he learned about it, he was more concerned about the politics. He wants this to be over because he
Hey, make
really
sure to
believes
thumbs
that
down this
issues like
video.
immigration and the
Thumbs it
caravan
down.
are going
Don't
to
forget.
carry Republicans to victory on election day and the midterm elections. And he wants this story to be over, not just because it's a danger to America, but also because of the politics of it.
We should point out that bombs was it was in quotation marks. He's suggesting it wasn't real bombs, you know.
And no law enforcement official we spoke to
They're just looping.
took those bombs to be
at the same time,
fake bombs.
Right.
They took them to be real bombs. Chip, it's interesting. So the president seemingly indicating in his tweets that he wishes that the media focus more on the caravan, even though that caravan is over 1,000 miles away from the border of the United States. It's almost like saying, let's put somebody in Secaucus, New Jersey, and let's see what happens when they get to California. And where we were facing sort of what people who we spoke to, including Fran Townsend, which was domestic terrorism happening right now, right here today.
Yeah, and let me clarify, he did not specifically say caravan is what he'd like people
already
to be
convicted
talking
this
about,
guy.
but he has made clear repeatedly before that this is the caravan election. He believes that him talking about the caravan and that being on the front pages and leading the news is what he thinks will carry him to victory on Election Day, or Republicans to victory on Election Day. And he made clear in this tweet where he said, very unfortunate what is going on, news not talking politics, and saying that the momentum for him in early voting has slowed because of this story. He clearly would like to get back to leading the news with immigration, caravan, and other issues that he believes help him. This issue, clearly, he believes, does not.
Indeed. Chip Reed, thank you so much. Chip at the White House.
So it's been a very long morning.
Can't wait until Bob. Yeah, look at this.
Colleague Rena Ninen. She's going to be taking over.
Can't wait until Bob Mueller finds something.
And many others right here on CBSN. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on Monday with Anne-Marie at 7 a.m. for CBSN AM. Right?
You got it.
Have a nice weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Credible News Network.
Fuck you, CBS.
Fuck Facebook. Fuck CBS. Fuck Google.
This thing has to be like trending.
MAGA bomber.
Yeah.
Look at this. They're calling him the MAGA bomber.
Yeah.
Like, he had a quinky dink, you know, with the whole,
Oh, that's the stream that chick wanted us to look at.
Allegedly.
The kill stream.
Allegedly.
Oh,
later we should check out this the Titans.
The next trailer.
No, their episodes.
Oh, they had the show out already.
I'm ready to shit.
I guess.
I'm ready to shit.
I guess. All right, we will be back around 2:30ish. I thought that stream was just gonna keep going. They're gonna keep recording shit. We will be back around 2:30. Maybe like 2 o'clock. I don't know. All right, guys. Peace out. Subscribe if you feel like. Comment. And as always, a Pep Boy healthy thumbs down.